reason I had to learn to raise money was because I had no money. And so if you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, in there, my rich dad always said, never say, I can't afford it. And it was my rich dad and many of my teachers subsequent to that that said, lazy people always say, I can't afford it. I don't have the money. That's why they're poor. They have a poor mindset.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for viewing. And thank you also for subscribing. I hope that the content that I've provided so far has been helpful and has been educative. And I hope that what I'm also going to be providing, the education that I'll be providing now in this video, will also be helpful to the viewers. So today we are providing education on People Group. People Group is a company that owns Easy Equities, and I think Easy Equities is much more identifiable than People Group because most people use Easy Equities, and Easy Equities has over 1 million customers. So it's much more in people's minds rather than People Group. And obviously, most people in South Africa, over 24 million people in South Africa use Capitec and Easy Equities on a Capitec. And in South Africa, there are about 60 million people. So Capitec is almost half of South Africans on their people. Almost half of South Africans have their accounts on Capitec. But we're not talking about Capitec today. We are providing education on People Group. Obviously, as you all know, there's a famous song by many financial educationalists on YouTube that says, this is not financial advice. Obviously, it is not, but education. So, firstly, let's start on the overview of People Group. So People Group was founded in 1998. And you know, the reason why I mentioned this is because it's always a good measure to look where the company started, because you want to check, has it been through the economic upswings, downswings, and was it able to stand? So from 1998 to 2025 now, People Group is still standing. And then secondly, People Group operates through Easy Equities. Or I didn't mention, People Group wasn't founded by Charles Savage. It was founded by Mark Burns. And it operates through, as I've said, Easy Equities and the other brands that it operates under. And it operates in the investment banking sector. And this is important also to mention because you have to compare the sector, the companies which operate in the same sector as People Group. For instance, there is Cetrix, and also even banks operate under investment banking, even though the industry is finance, but also there are sub-industries within finance. And the CEO is Charles Savage. And Charles Savage is the guy who came up with Easy Equities. So Sanlam owns 30% of Easy Equities. And that's important. I mean, Sanlam is a huge insurance provider, or let me rather say financial service provider in South Africa. And they've backed Easy Equities with 30%. And Easy Equities is obviously owned by People Group. And the year end of People Group is 31 August. And I mentioned that because, for instance, if you want to check financial statements, or maybe if you are looking forward to a dividend, not only from People Group, but also from other companies, you want to know when is the year end, when they're going to declare dividends.
If I'm buying XYZ company, I am not concerned about what they're going to earn in the next year. The next year is going to be over, and then people are going to be looking at the year after that. If I'm right about where they're going to be in 5 or 10 years, we'll make a lot of money. But I can't time stocks based on what they're going to do this quarter, next quarter, and I don't know anybody else that can either. But that, maybe they can.
So just emphasize that I'm not sponsored by Easy Equities, so I'm not sent by Charles Savage to sell Easy Equities at all. And this is just purely financial education from my perspective. So firstly, 5 reasons why People Group is firstly because Sanlam owns 30% of People Group. So People Group owns 30% of Easyquities rather. And because Easyquities is owned by People Group, then it means that this company has an urge in terms of if they were to need capital to finance certain innovations or activities, they are backed by Sanlam. And secondly, the Capitec partnership provides also an advantage over the People Group company through Easyquities, because Capitec, as I've said, has over 24 million South African accounts. So there's a huge possibility and a huge amount of customers that Easyquities has access to through the Capitec app, and also data for customers, because Easyquities is actually targeting the middle to lower class customers, and also the cheapest share price. Obviously, it's not the cheapest in the whole of JSE, but it's selling around R1.56. And also, People Group has over 1 million plus active customers, and that tells you how much the value that they provide to customers because you wouldn't have a growth of over 1 million if the customers are not satisfied with the product that you're providing. And the amount of customers have been growing year by year with Easyquities. And also the product that they're offering is not only based on investments, but also on credit, because they also have easy credit and also easy properties, and also some trading platforms that have said GT427. So those are the 5 reasons why first, and then the 5th is the analyst view.
Warren Buffett, right now, 2 years ago when he was sitting on $125 billion of cash, everybody called him crazy. Right now, he's sitting on $105 billion of cash.
As they gain market share, extend not only the scope of their current operations, but branch into other areas. It's still very much a growth story than a results story. Although I mean, one can't fault their results, but there's a lot baked into the price. But as a speculative investment, so far so good. So I have some in my own personal portfolio. I'd be hesitant to recommend it for the conservative investor, if I can put it like that. But as an interesting aside, it's certainly becoming more interesting by the month or by the year.
Mm-hmm.
Now to the 5 reasons why not. And you're gonna notice that here I'm not mentioning any financial highlights from the income statement or the balance sheet or the cash flow statement from the People Group. And that is because the finances are just the result of what I'm mentioning. Because if the economy is not doing well, companies are likely not to do well. So I do not focus on the results, I focus on the causes, because financial statements are just results, as they always says. They're just the results, they're outcomes. So I keep the education based on the causes of the financial statements. So the 5 reasons why not is People Group is because of the slow economic growth in SA. Because the last quarter in 2024, the stats say produced an economic growth of South Africa produced an economic growth that was just shared by the stats say of 0.6%, and also unemployment rate in SA is it's more than 30%, and that gives you a picture of where people want to invest, whereas they don't have money. And secondly, competition and AI advancement. In the investing space with People Group and Easyquities is that competition is tight because technology is always advancing, and especially now with artificial intelligence, there are competition like for Easyquities, Brockstock, and interactive brokers. These are international companies and they have access to these artificial intelligences tools, and they can get to outpace, for instance, Purple Group. Probably, we don't know, but also Purple Group is not sitting by stand, they're also watching. Thirdly, the dividend policy. There's no history of dividend paying with Purple Group. There's not been, I did research there, there's no, even in their financial statements, they don't release explicitly say that they're going to pay dividend policy, and they have not declared a dividend. So that's another reason why it's very hard for me to be convinced that I should buy. And 4 is that South Africa's stock participation rate is at around 14%, and we are much more better than India. I was shocked that in South Africa, there are about 14% of the population who participate in the stock market. So out of 60 million, there's only 14%. So there are about 8,400,000 people who participate in the stock market. So also that's a challenge, because if there's 60 million people in South Africa and Capitec has about 24 million people, and let's say Capitec was the only bank in South Africa, and then 24 million minus 8 million, that's 16 million remaining of uninvesting customers.
And I mean that with the greatest respect to the proprietors. I mean, with Easy Equities, they've reached out, they've brought investing to a whole world of people who never imagined that they would be. But it's very difficult to pinpoint the value of those accounts. Remember, these guys invest in fractional shares. There's the whole thing about the fees and the revenue generation model. I think it's still early. There's a core group of people who really want to buy these shares and who really want it to rally, but I'm not entirely convinced about the current valuation right now. Liquidity is also an issue, so I would say this is one I would be on the sidelines with.
Yeah, it's that Thrive.